Welcome to the deep dive. So today, July 7th, 2025, it's a pretty significant date astrologically.
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Especially when you look at what our source for today, Tarot by High C, is pointing toward.
Exactly. It seems we're right at the edge of something big, like a 7-year period, kicked off by Uranus moving into Gemini.
Uranus, yeah, the planet of surprises, breakthroughs,
Yeah,
change.
right. And our goal today is really to unpack what that actually means for us. The source talks about a major shakeup,
Yeah,
a revolution, specifically in ideas, communication, relationships. It paints this picture of truth traveling faster than ever.
which is quite a thought.
It really is. The main idea seems to be this isn't just planets moving around, it's about our consciousness shifting, maybe towards more intellectual freedom, it feels like.
Well, like the air's crackling, you know?
I get that. And the source uses some powerful words: liberation, innovation, even rewiring our brains.
Rewiring our brains.
Yeah.
Yeah, leading towards collective enlightenment. It's just a really fundamental shift in how we think and connect. A big step in collective consciousness.
Okay, so let's really dig into this. Uranus, the rebel, in Gemini, the communicator. What does tarot by high C say this specifically means? You mentioned revolution.
Yeah, it's a revolution in ideas, communication, and relationships. And they stress it's like a once-in-a-human lifetime kind of thing.
Wow. Okay. It also mentioned the energy feels positive, outgoing, and honest. That sounds dynamic.
It does.
Yeah.
And that ties into the rewiring our brains idea. For the collective, it means we should probably brace ourselves.
Place ourselves how?
Well, for unexpected revelations, sudden news, even tech glitches.
Ah, the tech glitches. Always the tech glitches.
Right. And maybe some bizarre social media stuff, conversations that just make you go, what?
Okay, I can picture that.
Like these moments, maybe jarring ones,
Mhm.
are meant to push us, to explore new ways of thinking, new ideas. It's not subtle.
So, thinking practically, what does this look like, on the ground? Rapid changes in how we share info, new tech, disruptions.
All of the above, potentially.
The source asks how communication may become erratic and electrifying. That sounds like a double-edged sword.
It absolutely is. The source highlights that. Huge potential for creative problem solving, yes. But also, watch out for misunderstandings.
Right.
And maybe some sudden, potentially uncomfortable revelations coming out in conversations.
So for you listening, the key seems to be adaptability.
Exactly. Adaptability and flexibility are crucial. The source warns pretty directly that clinging to outdated beliefs or resisting change will increase turbulence.
Turbulence on a personal level or bigger?
Both, individual and collective. It also mentions a possible increase in accidents, maybe impulsive decisions.
Okay, so a need for grounding then.
Definitely. And managing maybe higher levels of nervous energy, restlessness, even anxiety. It's a stimulating time, so staying mindful helps avoid unnecessary clashes.
Looking back helps sometimes. Uranus was last in Gemini, what was it, 1941 to 1949?
That's right, a period of massive global change, war, but also huge innovation.
So does the source draw parallels? What can we learn from that era about communication shifts or tech breakthroughs?
It does connect them. It says, as this energy returns, the collective is poised for another exciting period of rapid progress, intellectual awakening.
So like last time, but maybe faster.
Potentially, yeah. Revolutionary ideas, new insights, and inventions that will completely alter how we live our daily lives. The source suggests if we're open and responsive, we can really accelerate things.
Accelerate what, exactly?
Intellectual freedom, innovation, collective ascension, basically big shifts in how we use our minds.
And how we interact, like trade, travel.
Yes, how information and goods are exchanged, how we travel, communicate. The source even says how we define human consciousness itself.
Wow.
That's deep.
It is. It's fundamental stuff.
And it's not just Uranus in Gemini acting alone, is it? Does the source mention other planetary factors boosting this? It does. It points to some really powerful aspects forming that will shape things for years.
Like what?
Well, first, there's a sextile that's generally a harmonious angle to Neptune, mystical Neptune. That's around 2025 to 26.
Okay, so maybe more intuition, spiritual insights.
Could be. Then another supportive aspect to Pluto. Dynamic, transformative Pluto. That lasts longer, 2025 to 2028.
Pluto always means deep change, right?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
Deep, possibly irreversible change. But the trine suggests it could flow more easily, facilitating positive transformation.
And there was a third one?
Yes, a conjunction meaning they're in the same place with Sedna, sometimes called the planet of spiritual destiny. That's also 2025 to 2026.
Sedna. Interesting. So these aren't just fleeting influences.
No, the source emphasizes these aspects will affect our lives for years to come. They underscore how profound and long-lasting these shifts could be.
Okay, so you've talked theory, history, aspects, but what does this actually feel like? The source, Tarot by High C, includes this narrative, doesn't it? The pulse of Gemini.
It does, yeah. It tries to capture the vibe on a human level.
How does it describe it, this pulse?
As a subtle restlessness, maybe people looking up at the sky more, an unexplainable crackling in the air before dawn.
Crackling in the air, like static.
Sort of, yeah. And screens glitching with strange symbols, flashes of impossible color. It's trying to evoke that feeling of something weird and electric starting to happen, those what moments we talked about.
Right, and how does it build from there in the story?
It says conversations turn electric. News breaks super fast, like dizzying cascades. Even imagine social platforms collapsing overnight,
Oh,
while new ones pop up like digital phoenixes. And get this, algorithms acting like sentient tricksters, feeding people weird, maybe prophetic memes or coded messages.
that sounds like chaos, but also intriguing. A world struggling with too much information, maybe, where truth gets slippery.
Exactly. And digital structures just get constantly remade.
And the story focuses on a character, right?
Ava, yes, Ava. Described as a quiet linguist and tech ethicist. She's one of the first to notice the patterns.
What kind of pattern?
An eerie synchronicity,
Mm.
like strangers finishing each other's sentences in public.
Like a collective mind starting to link up.
That's the implication. And then things escalate dramatically for her.
How so?
She has some kind of neural device, like a personal BCI.
Brain-computer interface.
Okay, and suddenly flashes crimson. A warning pops up. Collective shift detected. Cognitive alignment protocol engaged.
Woo.
And right after that, screens across the city display a message. You are not bound by old codes. The future rewrites itself. Then, blackout.
A literal blackout.
Yep, total blackout. It's the story's way of showing this sudden, massive disruption, an unavoidable call to change.
So what happens after the blackout in this narrative?
The world enters this kind of liminal state. Information systems are down. People have to fall back on basics.
Like what?
The story mentions local mesh networks, makeshift forums lit by candlelight and portable batteries.
So low-tech solutions. And does that change how people interact?
Massively. The story highlights how people start to speak directly, share ideas face-to-face. The breakdown forces a different kind of connection.
Interesting. So the chaos actually leads to something positive.
That's the twist. The narrative mentions the chaos in Champon. Traffic systems failed, rogue drones buzzed city centers, impulsive decisions happening everywhere.
Sounds stressful.
Totally. But it also says this chaos led to unexpected breakthroughs. People started having conversations that seemed impossible before.
About what?
Consciousness, freedom from old ways of thinking, inherited narratives, how to redesign systems that weren't working anymore. The glitches became opportunities.
The gateways almost.
Exactly, gateways.
And Ava, the linguist, what does she do?
She forms a group called the Rescriptors,
The Rescriptors, what are they?
a decentralized group of thinkers, technomancers, artists, and rogue coders. Their mission isn't about restoring the old world.
But building something new.
Precisely. To build what might be possible. They really capture that innovative spirit Uranus and Gemini is meant to bring.
And what's their philosophy, according to this story?
Their core belief is that the glitches, the disruptions, they weren't errors, but invitations.
Invitations.
Yeah, gateways to a consciousness network waiting to be born. It's a really powerful metaphor for adapting to radical change, isn't it?
It really is. So how does humanity adapt in this story?
Well, it's messy. The narrative says humanity staggered, reeled, and adapted. But people started to see beyond the illusion of permanence in their old structures.
And what did that lead to? What changed?
Profound things. New languages of light and code emerged. Travel got redefined by quantum link stations.
Quantum link stations, like teleportation.
That's how I read it, yeah.
Yeah.
Instant travel points. And communities reformed based on shared intention rather than just geography.
A truly decentralized, purpose-driven world. That's quite a vision.
It is.
And how does the story end? Or where does it leave us? It covers the 7 years, right? Up to around 2033.
Yeah, as it approaches that 7th year, it describes this transformed world. The sky itself is different, laced with constellations now augmented by digital glyphs visible to those who'd adapted.
Adapted to the new neural frequencies.
Exactly, and conversations. They hummed in the wind itself, like communication had become part of the environment.
That's incredibly poetic, a massive shift in perception.
And the final point the story makes, the big outcome, is that humanity had remembered what it meant to be both wildly uncertain and utterly alive.
Wow, okay. That narrative really brings the potential highs and lows of this transit to life.
It does. It blends the challenge and the absolute exhilaration.
So, wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening right now, looking ahead? This deep dive, drawing on Tarot by High C, really points to huge potential, doesn't it? Change, innovation, intellectual freedom.
Immense potential, yeah.
Hmm.
It suggests we're stepping into a period that isn't just for watching from the sidelines.
Meaning active participation is needed.
That's the strong suggestion. It's about being involved in reshaping things. And crucially, the source stresses keeping yourself grounded and conscious.
To navigate the overstimulation.
Exactly. To avoid getting swept up in the potential conflict or anxiety of such a fast-paced, changing environment, mindfulness seems key.
So, the final thought from the source seems to be the future isn't predetermined by the old ways,
Right. It implies the story of what happens next isn't written by systems or institutions.
but by minds liberated to imagine it.
Precisely. This great awakening, as some might call it, is happening now. And your role, your imagination, your choices, they're part of writing that next chapter. Makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does. A lot to consider as we step into this new era.